Hey gamers, Maniac here with GameAccess.net. I sure hope Brad Jones isn't mad at me right now. This is the first time I'm doing something like this, but then again, this is the first time that I've ever seen anything like this. I just got back from seeing Making of a Tomb Raider today. It was a one-night only special event at 8 o'clock tonight, all across most of the world. They were showing a exclusive documentary called Making of a Tomb Raider in anticipation for the upcoming Tomb Raider game that's going to be coming out on multiple platforms starting tonight. So, really exciting, really groundbreaking thing that they're trying to do, and I just saw it. And this is basically my review, my feelings about it. A couple of things just right off the bat I want to say. Well, first off, I did enjoy the video. I did enjoy the movie. I came in there, I knew what I was expecting. I was going to be seeing some presentation for Tomb Raider, for the new Tomb Raider game, as well as a documentary about like a special stunt woman who does free climbing named Claire, who is going to be trying to replicate some of the things that Lara Croft does in the game in real life. Does she succeed? Does she not succeed? Let's watch and find out. I watch shows like American Ninja Warrior, and I'm probably going to be looking at that Ultimate Beastmaster show on Netflix pretty soon. And I have friends that watch the Spartan competitions and things like that. So this is not unusual for me to watch. And I've attended events like this prior, where it has, where we're showing game events like back at E3 2015. Sony had their press conference televised across the country on movie theater screens. Now, what was the difference between tonight and the previous times I've done anything like this? And the key word is that this documentary, you had to pay to see. You actually had to pay to watch this. It was not free. They charged full price for admission. Every single time that I've seen an event like this, whether it be the Sony event or whether it be any other promotional event like this, whether it's in theaters or otherwise, they've been free. Coke was a sponsor of this event, and I couldn't even get a free Coke. No joke. They gave me a cup, but they said it would still take they would still be charging me $2 to fill it with soda. But they said, here, keep the cup, but you can't fill it unless you pay more. And that's just great. That really was great. Obviously, I didn't fill it up because probably the cup has more value as a collector's item, but I don't know why this event wasn't free. Another thing, so let me just break it down a little bit, since those were my initial feelings going into it. I paid my ticket. I bought my ticket in advance, intentionally because I wanted to do a review of it for this site. This is basically a continuation of my series Date Night. As you can see, my date night was alone, but maybe in the future that's not for lack of trying to get somebody to come with me for the event, but in the future, if I do reviews like this, I do plan on having people with me to come see the event too. In the past, I have my girlfriends come with me, and maybe I could bring her in for another event. But for right now, this is how it's going to go. And all that aside, about how did I feel about the event itself? Well, first off, we got on a really bad foot, and that was, of course, because we were supposed to be getting promotional codes with every ticket. Basically, the reason why people were paying for this event was not just to see this movie, which may or may not get released online. We don't know. But they were paying because you're getting exclusive DLC. You're basically getting a ticket for exclusive DLC for the Tomb Raider game when it comes out. And that's platform agnostic. You'll be able to get it on any platform. So I come in with my ticket. My ticket's already bought and paid for. I come in. She reps my ticket and she says, okay, now you go to the movie. And I'm like, wait, what? She's like, yeah, go see the movie. I'm like, no, you're supposed to give me something. And now I look like an idiot, because this woman looks at me like, is this guy on something? Like, what am I supposed to give him? I gave him his ticket. And I tried to explain to her, no, we're supposed to be getting promo codes with every ticket, with every purchase. The reason why we're getting a ticket, or part of the reason why we're going into this movie, is because I'm supposed to be getting a promo code for the game, for DLC. And she's like, well, I don't know anything about that. I said, well, can you talk to somebody? So she called her manager after like a minute or two. Well, granted, we weren't late. I came in like 20 minutes early. Manager comes by after like 3 or 4 minutes. He knows what I'm talking about. I'm assuming he never told her, expect people to be asking for these things, nor did he give her any of the codes. I mean, she should have had the code. She should have been told before the movie even started, by the way, when you start clipping tickets, give anybody who goes for this particular thing, give them one of these. So I got this, and I got this. But had I not said anything, they wouldn't have given me squat. And had I not known, I wouldn't have thought to ask. This is the second time I've been to an event like this, at a Cinemark event, where I was supposed to get something and I didn't. And if I hadn't asked for it, they would never have given it to me. The first one was for when I went to go see Pokemon I Choose You, and that's a separate video entirely. So, was the movie good? Did I enjoy it? Did it include the preview for the game? Let's break it down a little bit. First off, they started by showing previews from not previews, but showing some behind the scenes. I guess they wanted to pump up people for these videos. So what they did was they started by showing video clips and in-game cinematics from the first Tomb Raider game from 2013. And then they showed its sequel, which I believe was Rise of the Tomb Raider. They were showing clips from that. Basically, it was like, show them Tomb Raider 1, show them Tomb Raider 2, get them pumped up for what they're going to be seeing, or for anybody who's a fan, show them the best parts, which is fine. Great way to start off. I think it went a little bit long with that. I was kind of like, let's get to this. Let's get started. But I thought, it certainly pumped me up. And then they started the presentation about this girl, Claire. She's a free runner. They explained her background, and I think they did a really good job with that. They had her sitting for interviews, and they intercut interviews with her with the activities. Then they started with, over the course of 3 days, they had her doing a whole sort of different types of stunts, whether it be a stunt where she had to replicate Lara going across very, very narrow, crevices, not crevices, but very, very narrow paths, basically. And that's not something that Claire has normally trained for. So that was kind of exciting to watch, because will she be able to cross? Will she be able to keep her balance? Obviously, anybody who's seen Uncharted would know this, when you have to walk across that very tight, very narrow ledge. And there were other ones that right after that they followed it up with, Lara Croft uses the ice axe in Rise of the Tomb Raider. Can she climb with an ice axe? And granted, they used synthetic material for her to climb on, but it was just as slippery, basically. And it was the course that she was running on was built by a guy with American Ninja Warrior background, so that was, the guy knew what he was doing when he built these challenges. They had her doing extreme jumps to try to get ledges and things like that. They hung her upside down. And they said, can you get yourself free while hanging from, upside down? Granted, they gave her some material to try to climb with, but, it's like, it doesn't work in the game. Like, I can't move like this in real life. I can't just start momentum like this. So that might be on the game. It's like, well, Lara was just able to move her head, and she was able to move her whole body in the 2013 game. Could that actually work? Probably not in real life, but who knows? And then they of course they had her training with a bow and arrow, and actually she was pretty good with the bow and arrow. I got to give her props for that. She had very little training beforehand, very little experience with a bow and arrow beforehand, but they gave her 20 minutes. They gave her like one of the world-renowned bow and arrow experts, and they gave her a good bow, very similar to the one that Lara would have used in the game, and the girl did a good job. She did a great job with it. So props to you, Claire, for that. She was able to hit the target certainly better than I would have been able to. So certainly props for that. And then finally, on the third day, they gave her a full course where she had to basically do all of these things, one after the other, almost like an obstacle, basically an obstacle course. And they upped the challenges. So anything that she had done previously, that they made it harder. Like when she was hanging upside down, they put her on fire. Or they narrowed how much she could run before she ran, did a running leap. They gave her longer distances for targets to hit, basically. But, she did it. She definitely did it. And it was challenging. She wasn't perfect. It took her a couple of attempts on certain things, but you know, she certainly looked like she was working her heart out. And it capped off with once that ended, they ended it with a preview for the game where Lara Croft has to basically infiltrate a tomb, and we got to see the game. Anybody that might have seen an E3 demonstration or something like that, this to me felt like, oh, okay, I'm used to this. I'm sitting in the theater, I'm watching an E3 demonstration of the game, a preview. And I'm sure that when the final version of the game comes out, you know, when people start playing the final version of the game, that scene will be in there. So that'll be pretty good. The game officially doesn't come out for another 2 days, but from what I've been told, pre-orders for collector's editions already have started tonight, so props there. Final thoughts about this. Like I said, I'm not a huge Tomb Raider fan. Like, I haven't gone into this as a Tomb Raider fan. I went into this as just a general gaming fan, and I like when events like this happen. I just attended this because I'm like, okay, it's gaming, it's a special event. I should, you know, do I should do my civic duty basically to gaming and attend. Hopefully I'll enjoy it. The subject matter seems to be enjoyable. I like obstacle courses, and I was not disappointed about that. What I would like to see in the future is them do something like this, but for a different game, like Halo. If they did something like this for Halo, I would be there day one. I would pre-order the second it was available. I would be so down for that. Hopefully they do stuff like this in the future. However, I don't know if that's possible, because I just want to say this right now, and this is no disrespect to anybody there. I was the only person in attendance at my theater, with the exception of me and one theater concession guy who occasionally popped his head in, I guess, to sit down and watch a couple seconds and then walked out. There was literally no one else in the audience. The entire audience was empty, and that's a shame. Because, you know, I've been to events like this in the past where we get, you know, granted they were free, but the theater was full. I think that in the future, events like this, especially for an event like this, which is essentially promotion for a game, it should be free. Make it free to attend. I don't know if it was Fathom that made people charge for it. I don't know if it was the theaters that made people charge for it. I know that theaters like this have run events like this in the past for free. So I know Coke was sponsoring. I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know why it wasn't free. But I went, I saw it. If it ever goes online, I'll make sure to link it on the website and you guys can watch it for yourselves. But I'm not disappointed. I had a good night. So until next time, guys, my name is Maniac with GamingSuccess.net. Take care. Over and out.